We got an Accord that needs a lot of work. Let's get to it. Alright, I started pulling it apart, taking everything off that I can. Bumper, grill and stuff like that. Took off the windshield wipers, the trim around the windshield, everything that I could that I was fairly confident I wouldn't break. Mirrors, stuff like that. Now these side moldings, or belt moldings I should say, and the molding around the windows I'm going to have to leave. If I break these, I can't replace them. They're really difficult to find, so we're going to have to paint them in place. I don't like to do that. Same with the door handles. I prefer to take these off, paint them separately, and not paint the black rubber piece that goes in there, the seal, but they already did it. And so we're just going to leave them in place so I don't take a chance on breaking that stuff. The sunroof I can just pull down out of the way and tape it so we don't have to worry about that. I did pull this molding out here. This molding around the rear window we're going to have to leave in place too. Now what I did is I put some wire. You can use rope or wire. I put some wire under there to lift this up just a hair so we can get some paint under there and get it cleaned out. I can't do it on here, it's too tight, and I risk breaking it or damaging it if I do, so I'm just gonna have to leave that stuff alone. I was able to pull this piece of trim off. The gas door here was really stiff, and so I oiled the heck out of it, put some 30 weight on there, right on this hinge, and it seems to work a little better. And I adjusted this piece because it wouldn't open. When you pulled the handle over there, it wouldn't open. So let's see what it does now. Works a lot better. Works like it should now, so that's good. I'll paint that in place. We could pull it off and paint it separately, but it's just as easy to paint it in place. That's what they did last time and got overspray everywhere, so it won't matter too much. I did pull the tail lights, rear bumper, all that stuff off. Everything I could. Of course, the emblems. And there's the parts pile right there. That's what we're dealing with. Hey, that's not a part. That's a mitt to wash the car. And it's little things like this that just, you know, make or break a paint job when you look at it up close. Just like the door handles, you know, this piece, this black piece right here is supposed to be black. It's not supposed to be painted. So just like the door handles, the best practice is pop them off. Now I understand door handles are a lot harder to take off, but this is easy to pop out. And if you replace the hood, these were already out. They didn't come with the new hood. So even though these were body colored, I originally thought these were black, but these nozzles on this model were actually body colored. It's still, if it's already out, there's no reason to paint them in place. Because we can see, if we just clean this up, we can see where it's still black from, you know, the original you know, e-coating or whatever that however this panel came. And so, you know, we leave a nice paint edge right there where we could take it all the way to the edge and then make a nice perfect paint job and then pop this in place. Or the lazy way is just pop it in and then spray everything. So obviously when you look at paint jobs close, these are the ways you can tell whether it was a good paint job or whether they just did a crappy fast job. And it's extremely hot out today, so that's a perfect excuse to go get a new fan. I got this Milwaukee little job site fan. This is an M18 tool, so this is the tool only, doesn't come with a battery or a charger. There's our model number, made in China. Now what's nice is we can use an M18 battery on here, or we can plug it in. We can just plug it directly into AC and run it all day, so that's kind of nice. So we'll try that out, see if it works. There's our fan out of there. You can see it tilts around. It's not too big. Not sure exactly how big that is, but about the width of my hand there. I like being able to angle it wherever you need. And it's got 3 speeds plus off. And there's our AC adapter so we can plug it directly in. And we got some instructions, but we ain't got time for that. And my big cooler, it puts the air kind of up here. But this thing would be nice working underneath the car. You just fire it up. Just aim it just like that, boom, right under the car. Or even if you're inside the car, do that, open the door, and we can aim it right in. It's kind of nice. I haven't had a fan where I could just aim it wherever I needed. This is, I think, going to work out pretty well. And right there, I got a 6.0 battery in there. It'll probably last 2 or 3 hours on high. If you're going to run it all day, you definitely want to plug it in. Now, it won't charge the battery and run the fan at the same time. If you want to charge your battery, you got to put it in the charger, but that's not the end of the world. I got 2 chargers right here and a third that I don't even have plugged in, so if we need those charged, that's not an issue. So for me, it's a non-issue, but a lot of people, I think, get hung up that you can't charge that battery inside the fan at the same time while you're running it. And I had worked on this car before many times, and this video right here features this car. Don't lift a Honda like this. And this was back in around 2016, I believe, and I just happened to be responding to a comment, and I noticed the paint on this because I clicked on the video to respond to the comment, and I was like, wow, that paint actually didn't look that bad. I think this is right when the owner bought this vehicle, and I believe whoever owned it prior had just painted it, and so that's why the paint looks pretty decent right here. But even then, you can see where it chipped off right there. And well, I got the car sitting right here, and that same chip was right here. Now, I did sand it right there just to see if I could sand that edge off, but the same exact chip was right there. And so where that paint flaked off was right after they painted it, probably within a year. And I'm guessing maybe because the mirror was right here, they didn't sand that portion very well. Who knows? But in any event, that hard edge is still here, so we're gonna have to sand all this, what looks like clear, maybe even some base down, and get it all off, because the base actually looks like it's in decent shape where they sprayed it, but it's the clear that has really taken a toll and is just coming off everywhere. So I'm going to have to sand every bit of this clear off in order to get to a good area for my paint to stick. Otherwise, my paint, I risk doing the same thing. We don't want that. So all this crap is going to have to come off. Alright, so now I'm just going to tape up those holes there. I'll tape up the holes where the tail lights go. I'm going to back this thing out. We're going to give it a good washing down. Try to get all this grit and grime and dirt, that's all in the nooks and crannies. You can see when we take this stuff off, you can see all the stuff behind there. And there's our nice factory paint right there. Hopefully we get a good shine like that when we're all done. But yeah, all this stuff right here, if you leave it there, when you go and paint, it's amazing how your painter, or your sprayer, sorry, it'll hit that stuff and it'll put just fine little particles up into the air, and that'll land on your paint and you'll see it. Even when you clean it off and do everything perfectly, you can still have that happen, but you're much more susceptible when you don't take parts off on an old car like this that just has, you know, just dirt and crap everywhere in all the nooks and crannies. That stuff has a way of finding itself in your paint. So that's why we're going to clean it up really good now, and then after we prime it, and before we prime it, and before we paint it, we're going to have to wash it. We're going to wash this thing multiple times before we paint it. Alright, I taped that up so we don't get any water inside the vehicle. Anytime you're, you know, painting, I recommend using better quality masking tape. You don't have to use 3M like this stuff, but definitely helps to use decent tape. Helps with your tape lines, and it helps, you know, just lifting off and your paint going under there. I was going to tape these off, and I'm like, nah, forget it. I just won't hose it down and get water inside the trunk. If I do get a tiny bit of water in there, it's not the end of the world. But I want to get all this stuff cleaned up because I'm going to be shooting paint and taping around here, so I definitely want all this stuff clean. And to help wash and hold them, I'm going to be using these stands from Astro. I got a couple of them. I don't feel like pulling the second one out of storage, but these things are pretty darn nice and handy whenever you're doing paint or body work like this. I think these hold like 500 pounds or something ridiculous like that, so definitely come in handy for stuff like this. And to clean up, I'll just be using some dish soap, some stuff that'll get any grease or grime or anything like that off. They make special stuff before painting that you can use, but this is a budget job, so we're going to use dishwashing liquid and a brush, and we'll just brush it and hose it off. The engine compartment, I think I'll hit it with a little bit of super clean aerosol, and we'll clean that up also. We'll try not to hose down the alternator, but I'm not too worried. Perfect. All we needed to do was wash it. I think we're done. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but you can definitely see the original paint is more maroon, and the stuff they shot on there has more of a purple tint. I shined these up. They look brand new now. In addition to washing the vehicle, I hand washed every single part that I took off, with the exception of the headlight assemblies. I got new ones, so we don't have to wash those. Hopefully you can see how much better it looks now that it's clean. It's amazing how much cleaning up can do. And those rims actually don't look really nice. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, if I'm going to replace them, leave them, or what. Or maybe paint the center caps. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. But yeah, it definitely looks a lot better. We still got to paint it and sand everything down, but it's on its way. Tell you what, there wasn't much area they didn't get overspray on, but it's little things like this that I don't know, I don't like to do. This is where the front bumper attaches. You can see the clips. There's like 4 or 5 of them right here, and they just broke them off and left them in place, and then instead of either trying to find new clips or not break them when they pull out, which I know that's hard, they just made their own bolts. Just screwed them right into this piece right here. I don't know, I don't like to do work like that, so they made 4 new holes in the bumper cover to do this. So we're gonna have to reuse them to cover those holes. And I get it, I definitely understand broken clips. There's some of the carnage right there. And speaking of clips for the bumper covers, when I pulled the rear off, every single clip and screw was in place. It was perfect because it's never been removed. This one up front, every single clip was missing, or not one of them was replaced. The only thing that was holding it on was those 4 screws that they did themselves, whoever worked on this last. None of the clips were in place. And of course, you know, the clip in the corner is broken. There should be a clip right here like this one, and you can see it's missing, so it's gone. This one's kind of seen better days. This one also has seen better days. So this was actually still holding on a little bit, and then those 4 right there, that's the only thing that was holding our front bumper cover on. And for the grill here, they glued this emblem on here. I've scraped as much as I could off right here, so we're gonna have to try to get this back on there permanently. And if you look closely, you can see the gap right there. Every single clip along the bottom here is broken, so I'm gonna have to try to fix that also. Alright, to put this back on, I'm gonna use this trim tape by 3M. This stuff is made to glue trim back onto vehicles, so you can see I have it cut meticulously. It took a while to get it all put on there, so we'll just tape it on there and it should be good to go. This thing shouldn't come off. Alright, I got all the backing off. Now we'll just see if it works. I think it's going to work. And to fix these broken pieces, I just mixed up some JB Weld. Just going to put a tiny bit in these broken parts. Alright, I got those all JB welded, clamped down. I'll just let this dry overnight, and by tomorrow it should be good to go. And these little mixing boards are nice. You can just tear off the sheet. We're ready to go with the new one for the next one. And I have a million of these little plastic spreaders, so you can just cut them to the size you need for whatever you're working on, and then I just throw them away. I mean, some people reuse them and that's fine, but I have so many of these I don't bother trying to clean them up. Alright, looking at the epoxy on the grill, looks like it cured really good. You can still get the screws out, which is nice, but it's strong. Probably stronger than when these were brand new. And if we look at our emblem here, this part of the H right here is not touching anything, so that's just the emblem. It's strong. I think both of these fixes are probably stronger than when it was brand new, so we're good to go on this. Well, that's all I'm doing on this car today. It's like a million degrees out. So in any event, hey, if the video helped you out, you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up.